You're here. I'm Mrs. Mitchell, and this is Mrs. Cizik. All the counselors are here today, but she and I are going to be talking to you today about college search. Okay, so hopefully you've got a room full of 10th and 11th graders, correct? Perfect. This is the perfect time for you all to be thinking about what's important to me. If I'm going to be developing a college search, what do I look for? What things matter to me? So I'm going to start by asking a question, and this is somewhat small group, so we hope that you guys feel comfortable participating. We're going to maybe ask some questions, and there are really no right or wrong answers, but I want you to think for a moment, and if you are able to choose your ideal car right now, you were able to choose your ideal car, what would that be? Think about that, and then raise your hand. And again, there's no right or wrong answer, but I'm just curious what that car would be if you right now could choose your ideal car. Okay, right here.
That's okay.
I always like small things. Too big is not really for me. Like people always are like, oh, I want a mansion or like a big house. I'm more for like the small things. So maybe a small black car.
Okay, so small black car. Good. So compact black car. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, what about you?
I probably Google where my local area gets its power supply, and then I figure out like if it gets its power supply from like burning fossil fuels, then I might just get like a small car that has really good mileage. If it gets its sort of power supply from like solar or wind, then I would probably get like the cheapest electric car I could get.
Okay, so thank you for that, because you're thinking about the fuel, the economical value of the mileage. You're thinking environmentally, it sounds like, and you're also saying a small car. Great, these are great answers. Anybody else? Whether you can drive or not, we're saying when I can drive, this would be my ideal car. Anybody else? Nobody else? Right here.
I might want something bigger, but with like as low net carbon emissions as possible, similar to fuel.
Okay, so something a little bit bigger, low carbon emissions. Great. I love how environmentally you guys are thinking about things. So we've got size, we've got the impact on the environment, we've got cost. These are all things that matter to you. Now, there might be some of you who, if you really think about it, you say, you know what? I have a lot of friends, or I have a lot of family, and whatever I get needs to be able to accommodate that. So I definitely want a bigger car. Even if I don't share that out, I want something that's larger, because you're thinking about what works for you. A larger car doesn't work for anybody right here, but for some of you, you might think, I need to be able to haul my equipment. I off-road, or I want to take my bike, or I want to take my surfboard. So I need something that has a capacity to hold those things. And just the same way that you're thinking about what works for your needs, that's the way you're going to approach college. You hear about certain colleges all the time. There's some popular names that you hear about. And so we have some students who often say they want to go to a certain school because that's what's promoted. But has that student thought about the size of the campus and if that size really matches what they want? Because if you want a small campus, you may not want to go to UCLA. It's not a small campus. It might have some great features, but if small is important, that's not a small school. Okay? So this is where you start thinking about what's important to me, what matters to me, and this is how I'm going to build my search. Okay? So, Ms. Cizik, do you want to take it over?
Yes, okay. Okay, sorry, I'm having some difficulty here. Whoop. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. As we asked you to pull out your device, either your iPad or your phone. I know many of you have probably used Menti before. And I want you to, when you go to menti.com, you're going to enter the code that's on the screen. Or go ahead, we have the QR code as well. Now, as you're doing that, I want you all to be thinking about the question that Mrs. Mitchell just asked you. Now, she talked about a car. We're talking about college search today. So what might be important to one student may not be important to another student. So you really need to think about what is important to you when we're talking about college search. Okay, everybody got it so far, so we can move to the next screen? Okay, I think everyone has it. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the next screen. There we go. And here's the question. What are 3 factors that a person should consider when looking for a college? Now, we want you to think about those 3 factors that pertain to you. So what is important to you? Is it size? Is it location? Is it cost? Is it major? I mean, there's a ton of different things. Maybe a specific athletic sport. Is it close to home? Is it far away from home? Okay, so I want you to enter the 3 most important factors that are important to you. And as you'll see, the words that are coming up that are the brightest and the largest, those are the repetitive answers. Those are the ones that many of you are answering the same. Okay, do you see which is the biggest one so far? Location, that's a big one. Cost, that's a big one. Size, major. Okay, I love some of these answers. Someone said being comfortable. That is so important. If you can't see yourself on that college campus for 4 or 5 years and you don't feel comfortable, it may not be a good fit for you. Diversity, soccer, the community, student size, available majors, travel, connections. How challenging is it? How academically challenging is the programs there?
One thing I'll add as you're seeing these come up, because you selected 3 words for yourself, but notice what your peers are indicating as well, because those might be things that you will say, I never really thought about that. But that's something else that's really valuable to consider. Okay, maybe you haven't really thought too much about travel. Okay, and travel can mean a lot of different things, like how far it takes to get to the school, but also there are some colleges that really emphasize that they want students to have an opportunity to study abroad. Some students look for colleges that actually have programs that say, we encourage you to take a semester and be somewhere else. That's important to some students. For you, maybe not so much. But this is a good way for you to see not only what's important for you that you're thinking about now, but what are some other things, other dynamics that you may want to consider as you're starting to do your college search.
I love that someone put weather. You know, we're from California. You know, we have one season. It's funny, I've had heard admissions officers say, well, California kids don't want to leave California, which is true for a lot. But I feel like I'm hearing a lot more students say, you know what, I want to go someplace where I have the 4 seasons. I want to go someplace where it snows. And once again, that may not be right for you, but that's something to consider when you're thinking about colleges. But as you can see here, the 4 biggest ones, size, location, cost, major, and then another one that comes in close to those, close to home. Obviously, many of you are thinking, you know what, I'd like to be close to home. Okay? I think we also had someone else that said far away from home. So once again, what's right for you may not be right for somebody else. Okay? So these are things we really want you to think about as we go to the next step, and that is how to perform a college search. Okay? Anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay. So what we want to do is we want to take this information and we want to show you how to complete a college search. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to the Claremont High School website. And hopefully all of you know this by now, but I'm going to show you how do you get to our School Links program that's going to help you with this process. So if you go to the school website, scroll down, and then under Student Links, we have School Links. Now, for those of you this may be new, you're going to use your CUSD Google login, and that's how you're going to log into School Links. Go ahead and do that. Okay, this is where I want to remind you that last week we already did a number of presentations, and those presentations are currently on our website, correct? Okay, they're coming up. So even though you may not be able to, that maybe you couldn't attend, the presentations we offered last week, just know that they're going to be placed on our website. So we're not going to go through this entire program because you know what? We've already done that. We had a day just for school links. We had a day on searching on majors, so we've already done that. The only thing we're going to focus on today is how do I search on colleges based on some of the ideas that we came up with that are important to you, okay? So what I want you to do right now is, over on the left-hand side, where it says colleges, you're going to click on colleges and then go under where it says school search. Now, when this screen comes up, this is the screen that we're going to do our searching from. A couple things I want you to notice. Along the top here, because we're coming from California, it automatically populates, and you can change this, that it's searching on California schools. If you can see up there in blue, next to that, it has public schools. It's searching on public schools. And it also has that it's searching on private schools. So that's automatic. Let's say you're like, you know what? I don't want to look at private schools. You can actually click the X right next to private, and it's going to do away with that. Okay? I just want you to show what the automatic is when this page loads. But now what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to do your own search, where you can select a criteria that is important to you. So let's go ahead and get started.
While you're doing that, I want to pose a question. Do you all understand what the public schools in California are? We have 2 public school systems in the state of California as far as colleges and universities. Does anybody know which one of them is? Right here? The UC, okay? We've got 9 of those. So UCLA, UC Berkeley, UC Santa Cruz, UC Merced. There are 5 others. Those belong to the UC family, okay? So each school is different, but they all fall under the UC, University of California umbrella. There's another public school system that we have as far as colleges and universities, right here. Cal State, California State University. We'll often refer to that as the CSUs. There are 23 of those. So within the state of California, you've got 23 Cal States and 9 UCs to choose from. So if you only applied to public schools, you've got a lot of schools to choose from. And that's not counting all the private schools that we can also search.
Okay. So across the top here, we have our navigation bar here, and you'll see it says filter by. And this is where you can choose anything you want to choose. You can change it. You can do a search and then go back and do it again and maybe change a few features. But I just want to take you through each of these drop-down options to show you what's available. So Mrs. Mitchell just talked to you about what is the difference between, the public schools here and also private schools. We also have the 2-year schools. People refer to them as community colleges, junior colleges. That's also an option that you can search on. So if you look here under school type, we have 4-year college, 2-year college, maybe a certificate program, a non-degree program, which those programs are offered at our community colleges. Below that, we have private, we have public. You'll see those 2 are already checked on. We have for-profit. Then we have below that, historically Black colleges and universities. Those are our HBCUs. Then we also have Hispanic serving institutions. You can search on just that. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, man, I don't know what any of those mean, go ahead and click right here, and it's going to tell you the difference between all of these options to help you create your search. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it as is. I'm going to leave here that I'm going to click on this. Whoops. I'm going to click on, we'll search on how about 4-year. We'll click on that. Okay? So you'll notice along the blue options there, it just added 4-year college or university. Now, if I said, you know what? I just want to search on public. I can click off that private right there. Okay. Oh, wait, you know what? I'd really like to put private back on. Let's go ahead and go back here and we'll click it again. Okay.
And you'll see the total number of schools changes as we change the different attributes that she's looking for.
I currently have 168 schools, but let's go ahead and narrow that down a little bit more. If I go over to campus, now, remember, one of our top choices that you selected was location. Right here, I can pick the location. I can pick, I want it to be city, urban area, maybe a town, suburban area, or country, rural. Okay, those are options. Let me show you, actually, let me keep going. I'll show you another way to do that. School size. Once again, this came up as your top choice. Do I want a small school, maybe only up to 3,000, which would be similar to Claremont High School, because we're at about 2,400. Do I want a medium-sized school, which is anywhere from 3,000 students to 15,000 students? Or do I want a large, which is 15,000 or greater? Okay, and you can pick multiple options, whatever suits you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let's pick a medium school. Okay, and then also right here, region. Many of you said you want to be close to home. Now, what does close to home mean? Does that mean on the West Coast? Maybe you just want to be in California. Okay, so you can narrow down here by picking a region. Okay, or let's say, you know what? I'd really like to be in California. I'll consider maybe Arizona. Guess what? I can go up to the search bar and go ahead and I'll start typing in Arizona and look over here. I get all sorts of things. I didn't finish typing it. But I'm going to click on Arizona right there. So now I'm looking at California, I'm looking at Arizona, I'm looking at public, 4-year, I'm looking at private. So those are the different options when we look under campus. Now let's look under admissions. I apologize, it's a little slow. There we go. Here you can select your unweighted GPA, weighted GPA, maybe ACT score, SAT score. You know what? I don't want to do that right now. I'm not going to limit myself. I'm just going to look at all options. Okay, and next we have school with VR tours. What does that mean?
Virtual reality.
Virtual reality, that's right. I forgot what it was for a second. Now here's the one good thing about the pandemic, okay? Many schools had to go to, if they couldn't bring kids on campus, how can we show kids what our campus life is all about? And that's where they started the virtual reality tours, okay? And they have some really cool ones out there. We've seen some where they did like a skateboard tour. So that's the neat thing now with the pandemic is that a lot of schools where before really getting that campus, you might be able to look at pictures, but you really couldn't get on campus. Now they have the virtual reality tours where you can actually get on campus, even if you can't get to that campus, where you can look at what they have to offer, okay? So that's an option. I don't know if I limit you. Most schools are offering those right now. And then degree type. Well, you know what? We have bachelor degree, associate degree, certificate program. For now, let's go ahead and pick, I'm going to pick bachelor's degree.
We're looking at 4-year colleges. Bachelor's would be the most appropriate for this particular search. And then I don't know, what time is it about? Is it 48?
48. So we have 5 minutes.
So maybe you can click on one of those so they can kind of see what comes up. If they decide on one of the schools that pops up, if you want to research a little bit more.
Yep. So I just want to show you the last 2 buttons here. Let's say that you are an athlete or that you would like to play Division I, Division II, Division III at the college level. Here you can pick your sport, okay? You can pick the sport. You can also, maybe you're just looking for intramurals, you can pick that as well. So just know that's an option. And then last, you can also search on a school based on graduation rate, acceptance rate, the expected family contribution, which that's a whole nother presentation about financial aid, and then distance from you, okay? And then also their US News and World Ranking. So that's all stuff that you can click on. What I want to do, because we are limited on time, we're going to go ahead, and you know what I'm going to do, because we're at 33 schools right now, which is actually a good amount, but I want to show you what this looks like. So when I click on a school, for example, let's go ahead and pick on LMU. Oops. Sorry, this is slow to load. Trying. Once you click on a school, and hopefully it will load for me here shortly, it's going to give you all sorts of great information. Oh, there it goes. It's going to finally let me click on it. Okay. So this is just one school of 33 that came up that I could have clicked on. But if I look on this right here, it tells you what undergrad degree programs, acceptance rate, their graduation rate, the total undergrad students, the US News and World, US News ranking, where they rank. It gives you some videos from their school, from students. It tells you about their campus setting. It tells you even the temperature. You know, if you're a student that wants to stay someplace where it's warm, it's going to tell you what the temperature is every single month of the year.
The benefit of using school links is because this is our school portal, because this is the system that our school uses, we can see and you can favorite the schools that you decide, you know what, today you may leave here and say, you know what, this is a school I want to come back to. I'm going to favorite this one, okay? And then it's already there, so you can just kind of go back on your own, because the goal between now and the start of your senior year is that you have a reasonable list of schools. It's very, very concerning or stressful for seniors who kind of start that process at the beginning of their senior year. There are thousands of schools that you can look at. How great is it to be at the start of your senior year saying, you know what, I fleshed out a lot of details, and I've got these 20 that I'm still thinking about, and I'm going to narrow that down maybe even more to 15 or 10. Okay, so this is the time, especially if you're in the 10th grade, you've got a lot of time to do that. 11th graders, likewise, between now and throughout the summer, this is what we want you to use to help you to start seeing what things matter to you. Okay, and this can change. Something that you favorite today, after you research a little bit more, you may say, you know what, I'm going to take it off because there's some things that I learned about it that maybe aren't a good fit for me, but I've added some other schools on my list.
And my hope is, I know we have sophomores and juniors here, that both of you, it's never too early to start, that all of you will take these schools. So you'll start this research, you'll develop that list of schools, and then this summer, start doing some searching, okay? The best thing for you to do is to get on that campus. I will tell you, over spring break, I did with my kids some college searching. We stepped on the ASU campus, and both my kids said, no. It was just too big for them. Both said, no, it was just too big. But you know what? It looked great online. It was a beautiful campus. But oftentimes you don't know until you get on that campus. So I really encourage you to start that process. Try and get on as many campuses as possible to see if it's the right fit for you. Juniors, keep in mind that by the start of your senior year, you need to have that list developed, because you're going to start applying as soon as your senior year starts. So you really need to have that list ready to go. Okay? Thank you guys so much for joining us today.